and Soul. I am so excited for each and every guest that comes on, but I have been waiting for a few weeks now to chit chat with my next guest. I have been so excited to welcome her on to the Sovereign Soul podcast, my friend Asha Frost. Asha, I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to everybody that's watching and listening,
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to introduce myself traditionally. Now that I'm not
please.
Queen Cause my spirit name is Healing Rainbow Woman, and my given name is Asha. Nishing Agamengan Dunjaba. I am from Cape Croker First Nation, and Ajijak Dodem. I'm from the Crane Clan. And I love to introduce myself in my language as it just presence is me and the land that I'm on. I'm on the lands of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Huron Wendat peoples, and also just allows creator to recognize me and connect to me in that way. I am a mama of two boys, and I've been in the wellness and healing field for 2 decades as a homeopath and then as a medicine woman. And now I'm here sharing about my beautiful book, You Are the Medicine, that has just recently been published by Hay House and is a bestseller. And next year, I have an Oracle deck coming up. So that's a thing too.
Oh my goodness, you've literally answered probably half of the questions I was going to ask you. Okay, because I definitely want to dive into your beautiful book. It had me in all kinds of feelings. I mean, literally all aspects of the spectrum in my feelings. And I loved every single second of it. I've heard from other people who have been reading your book as well, listening to your book, because there's a different, I'm going to tell you, you will have a completely different transformational experience from listening to her speak to you and reading her book. Both are powerful, but there is magnificence in your voice that is soothing. It is calming. It's medicine, just like the book is told. I mean, you are the medicine. We are all our own medicine, and we're going to dive into that today. But that book is transformational. You are all going to have the proper links to get to know Asha, but also where you can go to grab your copy as well, because you definitely do not want to leave this amazing, incredible experience without it in hand or in Audible or wherever you get your stuff. Um, and I was going to ask too, like, where's your oracle? Like, I almost feel like it's on the decks over there with all of the other ones. I've seen it by mine too as they come out as well. So I'm like, girl, where's your oracle deck? And you answered it for us. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that. We will be using it, that's for sure. I am
Amazing.
so excited. I would love to start kind of from the beginning. I think there's something so traditional and something so beautiful about beginning at the start of your experience. How did this become for you? How did it all begin for you? The gifts, the connection, the awareness, the knowing.
Hmm.
Where did it all begin?
The beginning. Well, I think the beginning probably started when my soul came into this earth plane. But I think as a child, I was really sensitive. I was really intuitive, probably hyper vigilant. I think to the energy around me. So I just felt into what people were feeling and what they were thinking, and that was just my way. I was just online all the time, and it was there. And I didn't really know it was a gift, but my mother was also a sensitive soul, or is also a sensitive soul. So she really nurtured that in me. She never
Mm.
put it down. She always has a connection. She has a connection to spirit. So she would bring that into our home, and just ways of just nurturing and honoring and never shaming it. So I think I was really blessed with that. And then when I was 17, I got sick. I was diagnosed with lupus, and I sort of felt like I wanted to heal myself. Like I was just like, I need help. I need help for my physical body. And at the time, the doctors put me on medication, and they didn't really help me as much as I wanted them to. So I knew
Mhm.
there was another way, and that way was returning to those earth teachings and those medicines that was in my bones and my blood, but it had been colonized out of me or
Yeah.
assimilated out of me. So it was a returning, like a remembering, and it's, we never get to that point where it's like I'm done. It's just been like unfolding ever since. That was when I was 17. I think I started seeing like some wellness people when I was 21, and then it just started to unfold. I started like almost going on an adventure of what more can I learn about my healing? How can I unweave this? How can I decolonize this? How can I do all these pieces and parts? And In that, I learned so much about myself, but then I became a homeopath. And then I just kind of, my medicine started to really come online and on board. And then it just started to kind of flow out of me. So I had a private practice, seeing thousands of folks, just helping them come back to their own balance and well-being. And
Yeah.
that was that experience, being with people and doing that work, is just like, it shows you what's possible. So I think a lot of what I share is really has been taught to me by my clients, or has been just like shown to me in those interactions, because they're my biggest teachers. So that's, yeah, that's where it all began.
Absolutely. And I love that because it is so true. Life often gives us an opportunity to reflect on the way that it's going, where it's been, how we can go deeper into ourselves to recognize the power that we all possess. We all possess that personal power of choice, that personal power, absolutely, of healing. And I have to share, whether you're working with someone one on one or not, I am going to be your example of being able to work one on one with someone remotely. So I was taking a drive up to Skinny Atlas, and that is on what they call Long River. It's the I'm not going to say it right. I've said it in my head a million times. Iroquois. Not going to say it right. Thank you. And as I went up there, I was listening. It's a few hour drive from where I am at home in New York. And I was listening to the book because I had to get it on Audible. I was told by a mutual friend, don't buy it. I mean, buy it to highlight it, but get it on Audible. You have to listen to her voice. And as I drove up there, I was reflecting on, often when I take time away, I'm looking at what this is for. What are we doing? Am I going up to channel? Am I going up to connect? Am I going up to be creative? Am I going up to finish my book? What is the purpose of this getaway? Because within me, there's always, that rhyme, that reason, that productivity that I really want to be able to, stay and flow with. And often when I'm taken out of home energy, I'm able to really get deeper into that. And so as I'm driving up there, I'm not really coming up with the answer. I was not coming up with the answer. What this 2-night getaway for myself was in Skinny Atlas. And I put the book on and I'm listening to it. And Bear Moon came on. And I believe that's what, third chapter?
The
I'm not
second,
quite sure.
the second moon, the second moon, yeah.
Second moon. So it is the Bear Moon that came through big time for me. It was not about doing anything with work. It was not about doing anything channeling for like, how do you want to put it? Like external expansion of my being. It was hibernation. It was time for me to actually just take a moment to just breathe, to just reflect on all of these things. And I think the most beautiful thing was, as I went to sleep that night, still listening to you, and many, many moons in, I almost was invited by who I refer to in my dream as the mother bear, and just open arms and this energy of just really allowing me to come through and just rest, and allowing that rest to be what I was in need of at that time. And like you speak about in the book, we are so conditioned to just go, 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 push, 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 move, move, move continuously, that we think that's the way we're going to achieve these accolades and achieve these successes in life, when it's actually so backwards. We are honestly meant to take that rest for expansion. And in that chapter, you said that you were reflecting upon a message that you had gotten with regards to from spirit, with regards to it being, if I rest, I will die. And a beautiful friend of yours said, let's shift that. Let's shift that. What if we shifted it to, if I rest, I will live? And it spoke so, you know me personally. You've gotten to know me over a few months now, and you know me personally. You know that right there, for me, it was like, if I rest, I'll expand. If I'll rest, I'll expand. Do you find like I mean, that's a huge message right now in our society. Are you working with people right now that are finding it hard to find rest?
Yes, I think that because we've been sort of in this like artificial winter, we've been in bear medicine season for 2 years, and it was sort of imposed on us, right? That's not the natural way that we cycle. We
Mm,
go through that rest and then we go back into like springtime, but it's been this like artificial, we are going into bear medicine season, we are all going to be um kind of suppressed in a way, like our that energy, that vital force is just constantly going to be like can't, lockdown, especially where I'm at. We've been in lockdown for so long. So it's
yeah.
like, so I think that that has affected our nervous systems. I think that it's traumatized us. I think that every time we had a flash of inspiration, and say we had a flash of inspiration, something wanted to come through, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, you're in lockdown again, or no, you can't do that because you can't go to that venue, or whatever those things are. As creatives, I think
Mhm.
it's been really damaging. So I think we're tired because we have not had the space to acknowledge the fullness of the trauma. We are expecting ourselves to get back to the way that things were, or just like get back, pandemic's over, we're just going to go back. Everyone I'm speaking to is so tired and also a bit disoriented. People are kind of just floating, like, I'm not sure what I want to do next. I'm not sure who I am anymore. Like, it's changed us, but we're not really acknowledging the vastness of that change. So I think it's exhausting us because we're pushing up against that energy and we're trying to do when we're not acknowledging what is and what has been. And we're just
Yeah.
expecting so much from ourselves. So, I mean, I'm speaking about myself too. I wish I was there and like, oh my gosh, I'm not worrying about where I'm going next because this is a lifetime. That's why it's in the book. It is my biggest lesson to
Yeah.
just allow for spaciousness. And I share in
Yeah.
the book, when you do that, when you allow the great mystery to take up that void, magic and miracles come in.
Yes.
But in the moment, it's so freaking hard. And I'm sort of in that now after the book has come out. I feel like in this big void now. It's like, and everybody's asking, what's next? What's next? I have the Oracle deck next year. That's fine. But it's still like, oh my goodness, I'm just in this void and it's so uncomfortable. So if you're
Yeah.
there, just trust the discomfort that I want to normalize the discomfort because I think
Yes.
it's a human experience.
Okay, let's go there. Talk to me as your twin flame almost. Just like vulnerability piece here. I mean, it is so true. There's message in the book, and again, I resonate with it. So, am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
My, I don't know what it is. These buds go from one thing to the next. There's healing message in the book, and I resonate with it so much. Is that you are worthy of rest. You are worthy of rest. I can tell you, and again, you know me well, it has definitely been a message that is hard to swallow. It's a message that's hard to accept because we are so conditioned to look for the next thing. And it is so uncomfortable, I think, as intuitives and as psychics that can see the future of where our impact is meant to go and what it is we are here to do. And because we are so invested and connected, I mean, your message, I want to scream it from the rooftops. Again, like I said, it had me in all the feels as a white woman, not honoring or worrying. Holy cow, worrying that the way of spirituality that I brought myself into may not have been, and I know these are definitely not your words, but right or wrong, if that makes sense. Honoring, the plant medicine particularly is the one that stuck out for me the most. We sage, but why are we saging? What's the purpose of that sage? And how does it support us in clearing our energy, even so that we can receive, in this example, because it resonated so deep for me, Bear's message of it's okay to rest. It's okay to rest. It's okay to rejuvenate. It's okay to self-care. It's okay to let go of everything that you've been working on to experience a void, because you're right, in that void miracles happen. We're not meant to see it all, but as intuitives and as psychics, that's hard to accept. you know Talk to me a little bit more, and again, there's so much within this book. There's so many places I wanted to go, but I'm trying to stay on track. Talk to me about one of the most important, no, one of the most important, if not a few of the most important things that you really want to be able to express through this piece, through your work, when it comes to honoring the sacredness of of you know your ancestors and their medicine?
Mm. I mean, I think that it's such a hot topic. It has been, especially like the last 3 years, I'd say. And in the book, I share the letter that I wrote that went viral, and it was unexpected that it went viral because I wasn't expecting it to do that. It was just actually just stuff that was just really, really weighing on me for 10 years that I spoke into being, and it was an invitation. I try to say that, when it first came out, people were so mad, and I said this was an invitation. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, can we co-create together? Can you actually bring Indigenous people into your conversation? Because I think that's part of the problem. Is it was like, we feel entitled to this. This is what we're taking. We're just going to extract from you. Can you actually see us? Can you bring us in? So I think this book, I'm hoping, starts to change that lens of just like, oh my goodness, I see these Indigenous people whose medicines these have been for eternal years, for
Mm-hmm.
forever, and just start to bring some consciousness around the Indigenous people that are living in your country and the history that has happened. Even when I share, our medicines were banned, they were illegal. So you imagine that is living in your history, in your bones, in your DNA, and then you see these people just taking them with ease, and you just think, oh my goodness, this is something that I wasn't even allowed to practice, and it's part of my lineage. So there's harm there, there's
Mm-hmm.
sadness, there's grief, there's all the things. So I hope that this book just brings some awareness to some of that and just helps people to reflect. I'm a projector in human design, and I love asking questions. It's my favorite thing. You'll notice in the book there's questions, because I don't have the answers for you. I'm not the smudge police, the animal spirit police. It's between you and your creator, you and the universe. Like, I
Yeah.
believe that, and I believe you all have the answers within about how you're going to make a decision, how to be respectful. Because I don't think
Mm-hmm.
there is like a perfectly right way. There's nuance to all of it,
Yeah.
and we can make repair. That's another message I always want to say: is we can always make repair. Do not stay stuck in shame for
Yeah.
something you have done in the past that was harmful.
Yeah. Or for me, I know my deepest, 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 deepest intention is to have that reverence. It's to own it. And just like you said, bring it in, give it a face, give it a name, give it a practice, give it its own roots. And in listening to that part of the book and the history that's not taught, it brought me home. And I said to my 12-year-old, talk to me about this. Talk to me about what you know. Talk to me about the extent, start to stop, of what's being taught. And it's not. It is so not. It is being jumped over, mentioned, but that's it. You don't just put a hashtag on this and accept it. You know what I mean? Like, or allow yourself to accept it as having done something or having honored something or having adopted something, because that's not truth. And I love that, because as soon as I listened, and the smudging, and how I refer to it as smoke medicine now, because after listening to the way that you presented it in the book, I was like, absolutely not. I want to honor this. I want to honor this. And I want to take, this and use it in my practice, use it. And it's for clearing of the space and things of that nature. But I want to do it in such an uplifted, higher vibrational way, because I'm honoring where it came from and where it originated, and what its purpose is, from a place within me that just very much wants to honor spirit and the creator, and always, because it is so, like you said, it's different for everybody, and everybody walks into it in their own time space when it's relevant. But there's so much that's existed that we cannot not go back to and pay homage to. We have to make sure that we are. For me, it's important. I should speak from my space. For me, it's important to investigate, because I'm a generator in human design, and I want to know what it is that's being generated. I want to know, that process. I want to know how I'm putting it out into the world, and knowing that it's done in a sacred way, in a way that is going to expand and create more questions for others to look deeper within themselves. Your book is amazing, because you bring those questions into the book through the journal, that you have us do with each moon, and what it means and what it means to us. It caused me to really even go into the ancestral stuff, going back and really asking what wounds I've carried forward, or what it is that's within me that really needs to be released. And I think that the biggest message for my weekend was just to, it connected me to spirit in a way I hadn't really. It's an expansion of the way that I've connected with spirit.
Thank you.
That's what I want to say. It was the up leveling to learning more. And I'm a firm believer, you learn more when it's time to learn more. And it doesn't matter if, oh, I should have known this a long time ago or not. You learn more when it's time to receive more. You learn more when you're able to hold more of that space. And I am fascinated by other cultures and other practices and the ways that healers move within their own modalities and all the things. And I want to bring it all here to the sovereign soul. I want to bring it all to, the spaces that I walk into and that I hold and that I harness. I want everyone to be seen. And, I think, this book is just going to rip stuff off, Band-Aids off that need to be healed, not just covered, you know?
Thank you. I love that
Yeah.
reflection back to me.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
important. So I don't know how it lands with everyone, right? It's from my purpose was to write it, to channel it, to be in relationship with it, and now it literally has those wings, and I have no idea how it lands, right? Because everybody's going to take it through their own lens. So it's really satisfying for me to hear how it lands for different folks and what it does to your spirit and to your path.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I refer to the animal realm for myself as spirit animals. Do you refer to them as such? Or do you refer to them in a different way? Are they looked at as totems? Are they looked at as messengers? Are they looked at as, spirit guides?
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would say I love the term animal medicine because I just love to really feel the medicine that they're bringing. But of course, I do
Mm.
use the term spirit animals, animal spirit, sometimes totem. Totem is more of a shamanic term. So, and I
Mhm.
do some shamanic work, but I'd say like that I sort of associate that a little bit more with like sort of Peruvian shamanism or that type of work. But I really love animal medicine. So that feels like
Yeah.
the most potent for me.
Yeah. I have to tell you, since your book, I feel that way as well.
Mm.
And that's how it shifted perspective and made this less of, um, how do you want to call it? What do you want to say? Like a new verbiage, you know what I mean? Like new age, like, and even in the book, what you were saying about how this, Diet Coke is my new spirit animal, like, and just being disrespectful in that sense. Yeah. Like, it's like, yes, I never knew why I was so triggered by that, but that's exactly why that is, because it is disrespectful in ways, because just like you put it, it's medicine. We want to honor what they offer us, what they bring in, how they help us heal, and the level at which they help us heal. It's the power of the universe and the energies that exist within. They're powerful in their own right, but not one is more powerful than another, and it is definitely how it hits us individually, how it resonates with us individually. And animal medicine, I'm finding since reading this book, wow, it's so much easier to connect to, if this makes sense. It's so much easier, because I acknowledged through that weekend of listening to you and recognizing it was an Asha Frost weekend. To be completely honest with you, that's what I'm deeming it to be. It was just an adventure into something deeper in my practice as a healer, what we can bring in, but how to do it in a loving, respectful, sacred way, you know. But Bear was heavy, 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 with regards to my reminder. Bear medicine is my reminder when it's time to rest and I'm ignoring the body. My reminder for self love, self care, introspection, self reflection, for healing, and that invitation, as Bear often does, that invitation to be courageous, fiercely protective of what it is that we are wanting to move into, that expand, like, be brave to allow the void, be brave to not know what's coming next, but also, staying connected to our faith, to our trust that the universe is working on our behalf at all times.
Mhm.
You know, for what you've been sharing, and I've shared it right alongside you, friend. I think the biggest message that keeps coming up for me, my guides are like, just remember, the universe is orchestrating in the background, and we don't want to micromanage everything, right? We don't want to make sure we're like, what are you doing now? Can I have an update, please? That would be great. But it's just this coming back to surrender that allows us to recognize that the universe is working at its pace and doing its own thing. And maybe this is just an opportunity to rest.
And I love to, as you're speaking, I always see things in visions. I love to imagine, like, I just saw this vision of stepping into a field that looks like however you would imagine the great mystery to look like. To me, it's like great wind. There's darkness, but there's stars too. So it's like stepping
Yes.
into the mystery, stepping into that void. And then what happens to you when you're there? Are things whipped off? Can you spread your arms open? Can you breathe there? Like just being in those spaciousness fields, I think is really good practice for our spirit and our body to
Mhm.
practice. Like, because it's not collectively what's been imposed on us like
Yeah.
24/7. So more, imagine all of us just like taking a moment every day to step into the great mystery field, and how that would be to do that every day.
Absolutely.
It would be really potent.
It would be. And also having that invitation there for whatever being is meant to step forth to support in that moment. The universe recognizes this is uncomfortable as us in the human body feeling uncomfortable with this. But that is a beautiful visualization. I've seen it often as I've gone to the edge, is what I call it. It's a beautiful mystery field, of course, but it's the edge, because right there at the edge of that meadow, that field, that grass lies the universe and all its expansion, and you can see for eons and eons and eons all the stars. I've been there many times, and it is, a space to drop the pressure, drop the stress, drop the anxiety, drop the need to know, the need to do. For me, I think the most recent in that space has been the feminine energy and the feminine uprising. Just again, connecting to that sacredness of being, you right? Just being. Um, because that's where we should be, is in that energy of being and not forcing,
Mm.
right? So I love that. I love that. I would love to, is there anything else that you want to be able to share or express anything on? Because again, my psychic friend here, I want you to be able to bring in all of it. I want our listeners to just, ooze from Asha energy, like just, what is it that spirit seeks through this space to really have shared?
Mm. I mean, I love how you've spoken so much to the audio version because I had this dream maybe like 10 years ago that I was in this recording studio and I was a cartoon voice. That was my job. So I got this like big contract as this cartoon voice. And I woke up and I'll always remember that dream thinking, what does that mean? Like I don't think I'll ever do that. But when I sat and recorded that, that's the dream I remembered. Like our dreams come true in different ways. We don't know how they're going to come true. Even our actual nighttime dreams might come true in some way. It's a prophecy.
Yeah.
It has always been a dream to record something. And when that came true, like I just want to share dreams can come true in the
Yeah.
ways that you don't even know how they might and how they will, but they will and they do. And it's something that's opening up for me too, in like recording more things and having my voice be heard and seen by more people, because I think that that's a really important part of my medicine and my mission. So I just wanted to reflect back that to you, because at the beginning of the
100%.
top of this podcast you shared that, and I want to open up to that too. So if you are able to listen to the Audible version, I'd love to hear from you and see how it touched you.
Yeah, definitely leave a review. You know, I don't often channel for the interviewers or the people that I bring on, but to what you just shared, I could completely see, a child's version of your book, and you being that not cartoon little girl, but that's exactly what that is, I guess. In almost like a series, or not a series, but maybe even like a little movie, a documentary of some kind, something that animates it and brings it to children so that children can be taught what you weren't, or what wasn't given to you the opportunity to learn. Holy cow, that feels powerful. And if that does, I'm like, what? Chills. You could seriously still, maybe the vision hasn't come to fruition yet through the audio version of your stuff. Maybe Netflix picks this up for some beautiful Gaia TV. Something comes through and says, we definitely want to make this in that version for children, for them to really learn. Because your stories, I want to sit and talk to my children about these stories. I want them to listen to each and every one of these powerful animal medicine teachers that have come forth, so that they understand the reverence and the importance of it
Well,
all, you know?
my favorite thing to hear, my favorite feedback is that people are reading it to their children. And I
Yeah,
see pictures when people share that. That's just my favorite thing to see because
yeah.
it just speaks to the magic of it all.
It really truly does. And I think that it just adds, so much more of that childlike, whimsical, imagination of, how powerful this world truly, truly, truly is. In the midst of the chaos, or in the midst of the struggle, or in the midst of the heavy energy, there's still this magic. There's still this spark of infinite that can be seen, felt, and embodied. And bringing that to our children, I think, is really a very powerful thing, and allowing them to continue to dream. I think it's beautiful. Okay, I had a question here. I'm kind of see through it because I did go all over the place. Um, okay, what is your hope for the future, and how do you embrace your own sovereignty?
Hmm. I think my hope for the future includes Indigenous people being seen and being, I mean, we're the earth keepers, the stewards of the land. And if we don't start to, if we don't start to do something soon, things are going to really shift in big ways. Things are shifting already. So I think that's my hope for the future is that Indigenous people are actually seen and revered and respected. That's very important. And what was the second question about sovereignty?
Yes, how do you embrace your own sovereignty?
The first thing that came to me was boundaries. I embrace
Mm.
my own sovereignty by exercising my boundaries and my sacred no. Because as like an empath and somebody who's really wide open, I tend to feel that other people's energy. So to be sovereign to me is to be in my own energy and to exercise my sacred boundaries.
It's so beautiful. I have loved our conversation. I cannot wait to have future conversations with you. I know each and every one of our listeners and viewers here on YouTube are going to fly over to all the pages down in the link there in the show notes to connect with you, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, hopefully, according to my recommendation through Audible, so that they can grab your book and listen to you, and also welcome it into their home, because I am with you on that. I want to really expand the messages that you brought through this beautiful, beautiful healing vessel to my children, so that they too can learn the power of the moon, the power of the spirit, the power of the animal medicine, the power of their medicine. So thank you so much for coming on, Asha. I appreciate your time, all of it. I appreciate you.
It's always so lovely to connect.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We will